Thank you all for being here and welcome to Healing on the Mat. I hope that I am able to bring you a yoga experience that is relatable, that feels connected, that feels obtainable, and that helps you to have a little bit of peace and joy as you go along your way. And so thank you for being here. My name is Nicole and I'm a certified yoga instructor. And this video is for us to go over a few things that I feel like I would like for you to know and to keep in mind as you go throughout your practice, not only to understand a little bit more about me, but also to make sure that you have the most successful practice as possible. So one of the first things is most yoga has philosophy, and I don't really dive into philosophy so much. We take learned lessons here. We take lessons from books that we're reading. We take lessons from life, and we just learn how to allow that information to ground us and settle us in ways that resonate personally. So this is a personal path in order to you understanding and evolving for yourself. My motto is we inhale life and exhale death. And I've heard so many people like they have negative things to say about that because it incorporates the word death. But what I want you to know in that is that whether you call it the universe, whether you call it Allah, whether you call it Buddha, I call him Jesus, life is being breathed into you every single day that you take a breath. And that life helps to sustain your body. It helps to keep your body functioning. And when you are intentional about breath, when you are thankful about breath, and when you learn that there are different ways to utilize your breath, then it helps to benefit your body in different ways. And so when you take a breath, it's literally oxygen that helps sustain your body. So we're inhaling life. When we exhale carbon dioxide, which is bad impurities in your body, bad gases in your body, right? We exhale stress. We exhale all those things that worry us and keep us bound, which we know can lead to sickness in the body. It can lead to stress. It can lead to mental fogs. It could lead to mental illness. And so when we exhale anything that could cause us to die prematurely. We exhale stress and worry and doubt and fear and shame, but we're also exhaling carbon dioxide from our body, making sure that we restore it with good, healthy oxygen so that we are fueled to keep going. The next thing that I would like you to keep in mind is that when you breathe, understand that your breath, every time you inhale, if you just take a moment with me to close your eyes and take one big inhale. Now take the time to take one more and be intentional about not moving any part of your body, but paying attention to the movement that takes place because of your breath. One more inhale. So as you took that breath, your chest started to rise, your shoulders probably started to rise, maybe your belly expanded. And as you exhaled, all of those things collapsed back down. Breath is literally expansion in your body. And breath helps create space so that more oxygen can flow. The deeper the breath, the better your gut health is targeted. The better you get oxygen to your lungs so that you're breathing healthy and you're getting rid of all these things that get stored up and trapped in your lungs. And so breath is critical throughout your whole entire practice. It helps to sustain you and it helps to balance you. And it also helps to calm down your mind. So that leads us to thing number 3, the third thing that I'd like to point out. And that is, this is all a mind, body, soul connection. Your breath is going to make sure that you fuel all 3. Your breath is going to send oxygen to your brain to make sure that throughout your practice, you can stay mentally focused. You gain mental stamina, and you learn that your brain has much more control over your body than anything else. But oxygen helps to fuel your brain, and it helps it to thrive. The body. You're going to learn in your practice that the breath can help create expansion for your muscles to lengthen, for your blood to circulate and pump better, for your heart to get oxygen, because that too is a muscle that needs to be worked and exercised. And so that breath is going to also take care of your body. But as we mentioned, that breath is feeding and fueling a soul. So as we work the mind and the body, we want to stay connected to the fact that there is a soul in there, and there is a unique individual self that needs to be assured, that needs to feel safe, that needs to feel secure, that needs to feel protected. And as we go through this journey, we want to make sure that we are allowing that self to feel all of those things, causing it to nourish, to be flourishing, to be giving, to be kind, to be patient, all of those things. We protect the soul so that we can protect everything else that is around it to the best of our ability. Those are the things that I want you to focus on when it comes to the philosophy or the thought process behind the practice. I also want to add that when it comes to that mind, body, soul, a lot of times I have people that connect in one place or the other. You are trying to gain agility in all of those areas, and it's not a rush to the finish line. So pace yourself, be kind to yourself, be patient to yourself, and just allow this process to process the way that it's going to feed you goodness or even pain. Sometimes there will be tears, of joy, of sadness along the journey, but this is a journey, and it is not just a physical exercise. It is a getting to know yourself practice. Now, for safety, we want to make sure that you're testing yourself, and we want to make sure that you're pushing yourself. So in terms of our actual practice and the physical work behind it, I want you to make sure that you don't ever push yourself more than you think you can. However, once we gain that mind, body, soul connection, you're going to find that your body is going to yield to you just a little more, and it's going to give in just a little more. But if you have some places where you feel tense or tight, please do not overexert yourself. Please do not force yourself into some of these positions and end up in pain. I want you to make sure that you take time to listen and pay attention to your body. And so I will give variations, but if you need to alter beyond that, please do. Next, you want to make sure that you have props. So I have blocks right here. Blocks are sometimes going to help you increase your strength. So it's not necessarily just a tool to make it easier. But the blocks are also going to help you aid in making your practice a lot easier. And it's going to give you ability where your body may not have it until you can create the space and the connection in order to be able to eliminate them or use them in more challenging ways. You also want to make sure that you can get a bolster, and I'll list these things below. So if you want a link to order, then please do. But you also want to make sure that you get a bolster. And I myself, need to order a different bolster. This one is good, but sometimes I like the long round ones a lot more. But I will link some bolsters below. You want to make sure that you have bolsters nearby, or at least pillows. If you don't have access to a bolster until you can get one, you can always use pillows. But this is going to aid in comforting you in your practice. So if you feel like there's some places where your body is just really stiff and really tight and you can't do it on this hard floor, then you can get a bolster, and that will always add some cushion in order for your body to feel a little more comforted as you relax and ease into some of these positions. The next thing that I would like to keep in mind, in addition to that, is that if you're at home in the privacy of your home, you can always do this in the bed. Now, eventually we'll get there, but that's a tricky place. And so until you get to know me and my personality, we'll steer clear of the beds. But if you're at home in the privacy of your own home, you can always use a bed and you can practice in your bed, because that is a complete space of cushion and comfort for you. So the next thing that I want to make sure you have is I have yoga socks. Now, I'm just a little chilly in here, but I know once I start practicing, it's going to get warmer. But I want you to make sure that you have socks with grip, or you go barefoot so that you have some grip to your practice. You want to make sure that you have grip so that you can keep your stability and that you don't slip and slide on the floor. Now, I have very good grip even if I had on regular socks, because I have a lot of strength and a lot of flexibility, but that's not the case for everybody. So we want to make sure that you're safe and you're taking care of yourself. Then I want you to make sure that you have a good mat. Now, I know some of you all have regular mats at home, but I want to make sure that you have a really good mat. Making sure that you have a good mat is more challenging than you think. You have to know the base of your home. So if you're on a carpet, that will help a little. But if you're in a place where you can slip and slide, you want to make sure that your mat has good grip on the bottom in order for you to be able to make sure that that mat stays stable. You also want to make sure that if you're a heavy practicer, or if you tend to sweat a lot in your practice, that your mat has water resistance or slip resistance, so that you don't fall or slide through the sweat in the palms or on your feet. And then you also want to make sure that you have a mat that has a good amount of give. Remember, in yoga, we are trying to stretch our bodies. And so even in a position like downward dog, you want to be able to push through that mat so your body has some resistance. And yes, you can push against the floor, but a mat that can move and bend with you will allow your spine and your hips and the back of your legs to stretch a little bit more. So keep those things in mind. The very last thing that I want to just make sure and remind you and reiterate is to pay attention to your body. Your body is telling you a story, and where you feel those aches and pains as we go through this journey, you'll start to find out that maybe there are some things you're not letting go of, maybe there's some things you're holding on to, or maybe you'll be able to give into your practice a little bit to find out that there are some things that you're pushing through and you're moving through and you're thriving in life. Now, my class is primarily a slow paced class, more like yin or hatha or gentle yoga. We'll go back between all the three, and we also will incorporate some form of Pilates. So just know that by the time you get through with any of my classes, while some may be harder than others, you will get a very good workout. You will gain your strength and your stamina. You will increase your stability, and my goal and my hope is that you increase your flexibility. But remember that how flexible you are in life can add to how flexible you are in your practice. So keep that in mind. But I hope that this was a good lesson for you to get started. And if you are ever refer any beginners, I would ask that you simply have them watch this video before they ever start a class with me, because I think this covers a lot of the basics that we need to go over. But sorry, I said that was the last thing, but this will be my last thing. Just know that when we practice in person, we have our energy filling the room. And it is my hope that you go into your practice with good energy, with positive energy, with understanding that this is a great tool and way for you to connect back to yourself so that you are a fuller person that is presented to the world. And so I know that we're virtual, and I know that I am approaching you through a TV screen, but please know that my good energy is shining to you wherever you are, that my good energy is wishing you well, not only in your practice, but as you move forward in life, accomplishing all your goals and achieving all your good things as you move forward. And if you practice with us, then I hope that you are shedding that good energy back to the people that participate with us, and you'll be able to hold on to that as you walk a fuller life in this world. And so while our energy is not in the same room, may our energy fill the world in the space that you are in order for you to accomplish great things, not just in 2026, but throughout the rest of your life. And so follow me as we get started on this journey of yoga. I will talk to y'all on the flip side.